We all want to look our best, but a decision by the mom of a kindergartner is getting some significant criticism online.
So the mom explained on Reddit that her 5-year-old daughter had a pretty thick unibrow and was being bullied by her cousins. So when school was coming up, she was worried that the bullying potentially would only get worse. So she decided to wax her daughter's eyebrows. The dad was upset about it, saying that the mom is pushing beauty standards onto their young daughter. The mom said she was just trying to help prevent bullying. That story has gone viral, bringing beauty standards for kids, small kids specifically, into the spotlight.
So how should parents act in this kind of situation? We wanted to chat with an expert, talk about that and more. Joining us live this morning, Abigail Horton, a child life specialist at Gillette Children's Specialty Health Care. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. I think this is a topic that a lot of parents definitely see happen when the kids are young and starting to grow older and be around other people and kids. No one wants to see their child bullied. So how do we balance those concerns while obviously trying to encourage our kids to embrace their individual beauty?
Yeah, so this is something we see a lot in the children's hospital. At Gillette, we see a lot of kids with physical differences, cognitive differences, so we really try to foster kids embracing who they are and what makes them unique and different. And one of the ways that we do that is through what we call bibliotherapy. So parents and caregivers taking the time to read books to their kids about how we're all unique and different, and that's what makes us beautiful. But also giving kids opportunities to talk about maybe when they notice differences and keeping that conversation open-ended rather than them feeling uncomfortable and staring. So it starts at home, like you mentioned, and it starts with parents and kind of keeping those conversations about differences and beauty and things like that open-ended.
Right. I think lots of times parents, myself included, sometimes when it's an uncomfortable situation or you don't know what you're supposed to say, the idea is to just close it off and move on. But we really need to keep that conversation open. Unrealistic beauty standards. Obviously, we adults are very aware of them. They're out there. But even kids start to pick up on this really young, frankly. How do we fight those expectations at home?
Yeah, I think it's important to look for mentors and idols and people that celebrate bodies, body differences, and, sort of like we started talking about, finding ways to engage your child in a conversation that everybody's body works the same way, but everybody's body is unique and different. And so rather than them trying to fit this developmental mold of trying to look like everyone else, what we really want to foster is that everybody's body is different, and that's beautiful and that's special and that's unique. And so we don't want to fit a mold. We want to make our own molds.
Abigail, you're sharing some good ideas with us, what we can focus on in the house and in the home. You work with kids in a burn unit, and you talk about self-esteem and beauty. What lessons are you teaching those kids that you're working with directly?
Yeah, so one of the skills that we really want kids who have been burned to learn and be able to take into the school setting is how to kind of help engage others in conversation. And by that, we're arming them with the tool of, if they notice another child staring, we're kind of preparing them with that 5-cent story of, hi, my name is Abby. I was burned in a house fire. I'm okay now. Thank you for asking. And so it's giving that child who maybe does have a little bit of a physical difference an opportunity to take control over the conversation, but it also lets other kids know that it's okay to ask. And, on the counter side of that as well, when I work with kids going back into the school setting, we try and encourage the kids in the classroom to ask questions, but to know that sometimes it's okay for their classmate maybe to say, I don't really want to talk about that right now. So it's like we said, just keeping the conversation open-ended and not making conversation topics or things like that off limits. So that really fosters that self-esteem, is by empowering them to know how to have those conversations.
Yeah, I think every parent wants their kid to have just a strong sense of self-esteem, and that's kind of the goal, that the kid feels good in their own skin. How do you start doing that? And at what age should you start really setting them on that path?
Yeah, and we talk about that a lot in the hospital setting, and that's sort of thinking about what are the intrinsic motivators that long-term are going to help kids feel powerful, feel masterful over something. And that's really capitalizing on you know, I see you're trying really hard at that. You're doing an awesome job. You're so brave. So rather than pointing out like their intellectual ability in a way or things like that, it's more that you were really kind to that friend, and that was really special. So the things that they're doing, the things that they're trying, you can start that, you know, at a very young age, and that's what's going to foster that self-esteem, because they're going to know their internal self-worth.
Definitely, so important, yeah. Start the conversation now. Don't be afraid to have those discussions. Abigail Horton, thank you so much for discussing this important topic with us. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great rest of the day.
You too, and of course, Abigail is from Gillette Children's Hospital.